Welcome back to Ozarks Live. Bruce Porter joins us now for this week's Dollars and Cents segment, of course sponsored by the Resource Center. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Good to be here.
Okay, we've got a little bit of a continuing series happening here. It's Retirement Unknowns. And, you know, Bruce, I don't think anybody has it figured out to the letter because there are just too many variables, but you can certainly plan.
Well, yeah, I mean, retirement, it's an emotional decision, financial decision, of course, but there's a lot of things that people don't think about. And we kind of covered the first one last week, the investment risk. And we got through most of that. And then there's also inflation, healthcare cost, longevity, mortality risk, and then public policy. So we're just going to work through these, and I'm not even sure which one comes up today, but we'll get to it.
Yes, we'll get to all of them. We'll figure it all out before it's over with.
Yeah.
But you talked about the risks in the market that are unknown. I know we touched on inflation last week because that's a huge concern right now.
Right. Inflation is a big unknown because we don't know. Who would have thought in a year inflation would have went up 5% or higher? We don't really truly know the inflation number. You can't get it off the internet.
No.
You can't trust what any of the different sites are telling us. All I know is everything's higher than it was a year ago. So that drastically affects our retirement money because if you're on a fixed income, you are definitely feeling the effects of higher gas prices, higher grocery prices, higher utilities, higher everything.
Yeah.
And so that is something that we have to think through, the decreasing value of the dollar and the rising cost of goods.
Yeah.
So when you're retired, you have to think about that because you don't have a way to influence your income other than going back to work. And there are some retirees that do that. Another thing that we've got to pay attention to when you're in retirement is sequence of returns on your investments. So for example, everything's good as long as you have positive rates of return. So if you're making 8% growth on average and you're pulling out 5% for income, everything's good. You're seeing an increase in your values. But what if you have an investment that decreases by 10% and you're pulling 5%? Now you're seeing a decrease of 15% in the value of your contract. And if that goes on quarterly, daily, monthly, whatever it is, those sequence of returns can drastically affect your overall rate of return.
Exactly. Another
in your investment.
No doubt it can. Another thing that can affect that is healthcare costs. Because that's just huge. I mean, it says right here, out-of-pocket medical, long-term care. B, talk about something that you hope you don't need it. Well,
the average out-of-pocket medical expense for a person, just us normal people, it's about $11,000 a year out of pocket. Now, if you're on an employer-sponsored plan, your average out-of-pocket expense is around $4,100. So it makes a big difference because when you're retired, you're not on an employer-sponsored plan. So, and the reason we have a higher out-of-pocket, because we're trying to control the premium. We're accepting the risk of more out-of-pocket expense to keep our monthly premium down.
Exactly.
And I get it and I understand that, but it puts a financial burden on a retiree because they have limited resources. So we have to think about that. You know, when you're looking at a supplement versus an advantage plan, you know, if you're 65, the average supplement's around $155. If you're 75, it's $190. So it just goes up with age. And where an advantage plan was originally designed for low income or impoverished people, it's the zero or low cost premium that also includes the Part D drug plan. Most advantage plans are set up that way. But what you absorb is a higher out-of-pocket expense as opposed to a fixed expense with a supplemental plan. I'm not sure, you know, which one is right for you. That's for every person to decide. as long as you know how each one of them work.
Exactly.
And how it's going to affect you financially is going to be a major question.
And we're going to continue this again. Because
yes.
you've got more to cover.
Yes.
But in the meantime, if you have any financial questions for Bruce, visit his website, resourcecenterinc.com, or give him a call, 417-882-1800. Lots
Good
of
to see you.
Be glad to help.
So much to think about, Bruce
Oh, yeah.
Porter. Happy New Year, by the way.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, up next, Rachel West is